She then Googles Shawn Michaels, sees
Bald
modern day Shawn
Michaels.
Michaels with a dodgy eye, and it's like, this man is the Heartbreak Kid. I'm like, no. You got to understand. When Shawn Michaels had hair.
We don't need to sync it up.
If you want to clap, you can clap, you know. Yeah, welcome back to SmarkZ. And we're actually, I'm going to completely out our production process. And this is actually just the next day from last episode, which was Money in the Bank. I don't know why I said that question mark. Like, it was 100% Money in the Bank.
It absolutely was.
It was yesterday. I know we did drink, but we're drinking again because that's just what we do. We got to play the part.
Yeah, we got to get into it. You can't really get deep in on this stuff when there's something holding you back, which is sobriety. So we're going to go off the deep end. We've got quite a fun topic.
You got a hot take. This is your hot take. I feel like maybe hot take episodes are going to be a thing after my invasion hot take. We can go in with your hot take because this is definitely a hot take to a degree.
It's a very hot take, but I think if we do it chronologically, and then when we get to that hot take through the timeline, it'll be kind of a nice natural jumping on point. And I think as we go along, people are going to realize he's not going to say it, is he? He's not. And then they'll realize, oh God, the Smark is a fucking moron.
Yeah,
but I stand by it.
Well, let's get into it. What's your opinion, Stephen? What does he have to say?
I think that mainly Raw and SmackDown during the Attitude Era was fucking shite.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of people saying that right now.
You say Raw and SmackDown, so like, pretty much 80% of what they were outputting.
Yeah.
Was shit.
In the Attitude Era, definitely. I don't think so either side of it. I think when they kind of got post-Invasion and in that post-New Generation, like that 1997 Raw is War thing, I think they were great shows. And in fact, sure, say 1998 Raw was entertaining, but as a wrestling show, it was dreadful.
I'm finding it hard. I feel like I should disagree. Like, I'm gonna try and defend it, but at the same time, know that I realize that you're probably right because it was it's one of those things. You go back in time and you watch things that everyone holds in such high regard, and you watch it with much more context and with age, and you realize this is not aged well. And in fact, in the grand scheme of things, and the legacy, it's almost like when I talk about the Diva era. I was having a very long conversation about the Diva era with my girlfriend, and I was like, just to give you context, that this isn't what wrestling has always been, and it was like a time in wrestling history, and the Attitude Era was like what's so jarring about what you're saying is the Attitude Era is pretty much considered the golden age, it's what made WWE, WWF. It put them really up there. It made it the $1 billion company it is.
It was the promised land. It was everything that people wanted from wrestling. It's what they wanted from the time, which was chaos and pop culture and tits.
And when we look back, we always remember the good times. Remember Stone Cold coming out with a fucking milk truck or whatever the fuck.
No, he came out with the beer truck. It was Kurt who came out with the milk truck.
And well, it wasn't really beer though. And just mad clownery and all, the hardcore matches and the hardcore championship. But what you're saying is, in retrospect, when you go back and watch the actual Raw shows, they're just not good.
No. And in fairness to these moments, they were memorable. They were groundbreaking. Like Stone Cold filling the car with cement. Great, just because it's really dumb. And it's just unnecessary levels of abuse to give your boss. Sure, he was a cunt, but every time they've tried to do this going forwards, whenever they try and recapture the magic, because obviously everyone going on about bring the Attitude Era back. We need it back, even though what we've got right now is really, really good. We want what we had before. But each time they've tried to like recapture that magic, when they did the second beer truck with Santino Marella and Maria, it was dumb shit. It makes you realize you're capturing lightning in a bottle just because of the things going on around you. It's not what happened. It's how we felt.
Yeah. And actually, I've got there's the obvious counter, which is, but Stephen, if it was so bad, how did they win the Monday Night Wars? And I actually think I have the answer for that. The genuine breakdown, this isn't very fun or funny, but I think there's a genuine reason. I think it really came down to like the only thing WCW was doing wrong was not putting over new stars. And WWF had the new stars. The storylines and the shows were nah, but the new stars were worth paying attention to.
Yes.
And that's why everyone moved over to see Stone Cold and see what everyone was done with the Bret Harts, the Hulk Hogans, and luckily Shawn Michaels was out because that's all they would have also been pushing. And it was like we needed new stars.
Yep. In a weird way, the screw job, it did them a favor. You got rid of Bret.
They lucked out. They fully lucked out because of the new talent, and then because of that, WCW crumbled, and then we had the invasion, which arguably was, as we've come to sort of agree on, was badly handled. And it came down to focus of who they were trying to put over. But at the end of the day, the thing that works now is the constant progression and the need to see stars that the fans like, people that aren't always in your face, that were like, oh, what about this guy? He's cool. Let's see him get a championship. And that's the beauty of wrestling. And I feel like they didn't actually tap onto that fully.
No.
Vince especially didn't always tap onto that. He had his stars and he had the people that he wanted to hold the belts and be the face of the company. And he always tried to control fandom at the end of the day.
And that's kind of why I think I have a little bit of a disdain for the Attitude Era. When you go back and watch the Raws of the time, there's just this constant reminder that Stone Cold's here, by the way. He's going to be on later. I promise. He's going to be here. It's like, yes, he's incredible. I love seeing him. I love seeing him come out to the ring, hear the glass smash, see the stunner. He'll talk some shit, but whatever he does, he'll get a reaction. But he's not the be-all, end-all. And it's important to have different characters, different angles. And I know this is one of those things that people say Vince Russo was great at, and that's giving everyone something to do. Like, it may have been absolute shit, but it would have been wild and it would have been funny. And then you have the hook of Stone Cold later on in the night.
Russo's style wasn't the problem. It was just some of the choices. It was creative choices.
Well, we saw that when he went to WCW, because as soon as he didn't have Vince McMahon to sort of yank on the leash and say, okay, tone it down a bit, he went off the deep end. He completely lost his head, and he was coming up with some of the dumbest fucking booking choices ever, like having David Arquette win the world title. How can you not win the Monday Night Wars when that's your opposition?
Yeah. Which again, it's the same sort of issues. It's like not really focusing on what people liked about the stars and gimmicks and things. It was like, there was a reason Stone Cold became who he was, and it was literally down to fan response. The fans went, "Oh shit, this guy's awesome."
Yeah, he's not like anything else we've seen. This guy, he completely goes against what the rest of the TV show is. It's like if you're watching, let's say, Balamory, which is a reference American listeners won't get.
They might.
The internet's a weird thing.
Yeah.
Rule 34 exists. But if you have a cameo from Walter White, that literally bald-headed, bearded man, fucking
Balamory.
Yeah. That's Stone Cold turning up to the new generation, where you had fucking Hakushi and who else was it? Aldo Montoya.
It was all childish gimmicks, and I didn't come up with this. Everyone says it was very cartoonish. Vince was, throughout most of the 90s, he was really I don't know, on some cartoon shit, and it was weird, and it worked. It was still entertaining at times, but it definitely, going back and looking at it now, looking at how even in the PG era, there was still this level of maturity. It wasn't for kids. It wasn't too adult, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you had to strike a balance.
It was
And
teen fiction.
weirdly, the worst moments of that was when they were trying to do the Attitude Era, and when they were trying to harken back to that. Because when you have the lack of mania around the Attitude Era, you have things like 2006 DX, which was unbelievably cringe. The whole Vince Loves Cock stuff. That's terrible. That's terrible television. Coming from two 40-year-old men, one of whom is a born-again Christian. The other is next in line to run the company.
And they're trying to do their... Well, let's be honest. When you go back and watch some of the DX gimmicks, it's cringy as shit. It's like a bunch of grown men acting like teenagers.
Yes. Grow the fuck up!
And this is one of the most legendary stables of all time.
Yeah. But that gets under my skin because it's like, how important was DX in winning the Attitude? In the McMahon Helmsley era, I think it was a little bit different. That was good. When
Was it the initial DX?
No, the second part of DX, where they had the New Age Outlaws.
Yeah.
When they had Tory for some weird reason, X-Pac, those ones. That was fun because it was so chaotic, and it kind of took all the things that the NWO did right and made it so that there weren't 17 factions of the NWO or DX. And you keep it focused, you keep it composed, even if Stephanie is winning the title when she fucking shouldn't be. But that first DX, it's not aged very well. And why would it when the opposition was the NWO, which was genuinely exciting at the time? That feels like, coming back from what I just said, going into that feels like a bit of a juxtaposition or a hypocrisy. But we've got to bear in mind, 1997 and 1998 were very different times.
Oh man, 97 was the game-changing point, because that was the debut of Raw, right?
No. Raw started in 93.
Oh, it started 93. Oh no, what? It was...
And Nitro started, I think, 96.
Was it not when they like moved to like the Titantron, like the full Titantron?
Oh, like the War Zone, Roy's War, that kind of thing. Yeah, 97.
Yeah, sorry,
late 96, 97.
That's when like the aesthetic of WWF at the time changed massively. Like it was like the production value went up. Basically, they were like, no more like sort of, I don't know. When you go back and look at some of the early 90s and even 80s shows, they look like indie wrestling. What indie wrestling is like now, still, but like with a bit of a nicer ring, a somewhat nicer ring. They had consistent tables ish.
Consistent tables, that'll do. That's a start. Well, we both watched In Your House 1, didn't we? For some fucking reason.
Because you started it and I saw it and I was like, yeah, let's watch them In Your House.
Well, because I was interested. That era feels so wrong to me. Because there's no stars. I wouldn't watch for Diesel or Psycho Sid. Like, don't get me wrong, Kevin Nash is a talent, but...
I weirdly like that a little bit. I don't long for it. I'm not like, it was better.
Bring it back!
There is something about the meta in terms of, as a fan, because obviously they weren't playing it quite like a drama back then, like a serialized drama. It was definitely like, more for the local crowd, the audience there, and they were sort of into the kayfabe a lot. But it was interesting the way, like you said, there's no stars, so there's no like, I don't know, even though there was definitely some insane and Vince like crazy writing, it still felt somewhat controlled and not like as absurd. It was almost like, to a degree, it was taking itself more seriously. Despite how absurd the whole thing is, being wrestling and professional wrestling as a concept anyway. But like compared to now, it's almost like now you've got shit tons of money and you're really on the nose about everything, and it's sort of like, like surely you could have, like for example, I don't understand why it's never really put much pressure on like young talents to like take some acting classes. Like,
that's a good point.
You would think in 2020, most up-and-coming wrestlers would be good actors, just as a standard. Because look at the careers of wrestlers of the last couple of decades. Like,
I mean, if you want to list them, you got fucking The Rock. Stone Cold has done movies. John Cena. Samoa Joe is in the new Twisted Metal, which I really want to watch.
Oh yeah.
He's playing Sweet Tooth. How cool is that?
There's a lot of talks about Roman has probably got a long career of acting ahead of him.
His acting after Money in the Bank was really bad.
What do you mean? What, crying?
Yeah, when he was doing his little scream.
Yeah, that was weird. But most wrestlers are weird when they start crying. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Big Show.
This is a very much self-aware tangent. But you know when you immediately need to talk about something? The weirdest thing they ever did with Big Show, it wasn't the 27 heel turns. It wasn't him coming out as like cosplaying as other wrestlers. It was when they tried to co-opt the Yes movement to be Big Show's.
I wasn't there for that.
So the Yes movement is...
I know what the Yes movement is.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's Daniel Bryan, right?
Daniel Bryan, it was his big moment. But essentially, they kind of brushed Daniel Bryan to the side for a moment. And they started making Big Show do the chants. And it was so embarrassing because he was there doing his big grin. And you're just looking like, this dude has never been over. Don't ruin this on him. Don't give him this really cool chant and kind of take away from the allure of Daniel Bryan.
It's, I don't know, like, did he do it in a monstrous way? Was it like, yes, yes?
He puts the hand. Yes. No, he did it in the happy, silly, goofy Big Show way.
Ah, yeah, that one that's really jarring because he's a giant.
Yeah, he's a giant with a bald head and a hand like that, like horseshoe moustache.
It's kind of like when you see like Glenn Jacobs now in a suit smiling, and it's
Yeah.
like, but you're still like a giant man.
Yeah,
Like I get it, you're completely out of character and you're retired, but like, you don't look normal as a. You're just
No.
not a normal person. Like, I'm sorry, like
he looks like Kane.
you are Kane. Like, even if you have real hair now, I don't care. Like,
I wish
fake.
he'd shave it. I really do.
It's so jarring.
And having seen his policies, he's not that different to Kane.
Oh God, I'm not getting into this.
We're gonna turn
I
into a
see it
political
so
podcast.
much in the comment section. Everyone just shits all over him now. Like, yeah, but he's a Republican. I'm like, oh wow, like Americans care too much about their politics. Like, just imagine if like I can't even really come up with a comparison now, but like I don't know if like William Regal had also like retires and like I don't know.
I'll
What-
see you in Prime Minister's questions.
What would be the
you
worst?
sunshine?
Yeah, just I don't know, just joins the Conservatives. I feel like that isn't the worst case, but
He
it's
wouldn't
close
be
enough.
a Tory. No, he's not. He's not a Tory. At the very worst, he's a Lib Dem.
I know. Look at his character.
That's his character. But William Regal, he's a hard-working motherfucker. he came from the bottom, and he moved all the way to the top, or
But
to
he's
upper mid
rich
card.
as fuck now. Money changes you.
It does. It does.
He'd come back a Tory straight up.
Straight up Toryism. Straight up gangster tripping, as he once said. I like the idea of him having as his right hand man Tajiri in the House of Commons.
Yes, I was imagining that as well the whole time. That's the only way it works. That's how he tries to get over in British politics.
Look
I'm
at
not
the little.
racist.
He's got mist. He'll blow it in your face, and then if he wants to kind of double down on that, you can get Eugene in.
Oh God. Olivia saw Eugene for the first time the other day.
Oh no!
I was doing the dishes and I don't know what I was watching, but I left and I sort of forgot. I really try and forget the Eugene character because I'm like, of all the fucking batshit ideas, like you've got a new it's good shit, right?
I'm gonna come up with them before the end of
Said
this.
that last night, Stephen.
I give you my word.
But yeah, of all the fucking donkey brain ideas, that is one of the worst. Like to actually go ahead and it's like, not only are we going to commit to this character, we're going to give him all the TV time in the fucking world.
Yeah. He's gonna main event SummerSlam. And then the next night on Raw, he's going to get on a bouncy castle with Triple H.
We're talking 4 segments a night on Raw. Where's Eugene? Let's chase Eugene. This is funny. This is what people want to see at a professional wrestling show. I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to begin to... Eugene is Eugene, and Google it. Google Eugene WWE.
You're going down a rabbit hole.
Because I'm not going to say anything. I'm no comment.
I'm raising my drink right now. I'm saying justice for Nick Dinsmore.
Is that
That's the performer.
I've seen one interview with him, and he's talking about, at the time
he was talented as fuck. He was really good in the ring, and they just threw it away by making fun of handicapped people.
Don't say it. Don't even describe it. Listen, we live in a progressive society. I feel like there's no right way to describe his character, so I'm just avoiding it. I'm just like, I'm going to cut that. I'm going to cut that, Stephen.
Get out.
I'm just going to beep it.
You're barred.
He was a character. Like, he was just a character. He was a...
It's going to make it so much worse.
It's not. It's really not. It's not like he's black or like... Boo! But, fucking... The best thing was like... His whole thing of trying to get over was just talking about old wrestling. And just like listing old wrestlers like, no, what the fuck was I doing? I was about to fully imitate him. I'm going crazy. I got carried away. I've had one beer, and here I am about to just fully get myself cancelled.
Straight to his head.
I get carried away when it comes to, I imitate all accents without hesitation. I don't know what's wrong with me. But, he's talking about, like, WrestleMania 1 and, the big moments from Survivor Series in, like, 95 and shit. And he's like, what the fuck is happening?
I'm immediately picturing the WrestleMania advert where he's doing Forrest Gump.
That was actually kind of good.
It was good. Those adverts were so much better than the ones from this year. And I know what you mean, by the way, because I almost did an impression of him as well. It's so hard not to.
To be fair, he is also doing an impression. For the record. Is it wrong to imitate someone doing a politically incorrect imitation? Yeah.
We're being ableist by proxy.
That's two wrongs. Come on, Zach. You know this. This is basic.
We're better than this. We're scum, and even we're rising above this.
I'm not touching it. I'm really trying not to touch it at all. Like, why did you even mention Eugene? God damn it. He's on the bad list. I'd rather talk about Chris Benoit than Eugene.
Oh, yeah, because Chris Benoit killed his family in kayfabe. I still hope one day he comes out in the Royal Rumble. It was all a CIA work.
Just imagine it was like, it really was Vince's masterpiece. He's like, you know what? Instead of me dying, why don't we have one of the craziest returns of all time? 20 years in the making. Now come on. Now we're really going down the rabbit hole. We're trying to get ourselves
this is
fucked
getting
up.
dark.
We're joking about a murderer coming back from the dead to the Royal Rumble and winning the whole thing from number 1 again.
Again, the exact same spot with the Big Show. 60 years old Chris Benoit. So back to my hot take. I kind of feel like a lot of the love that came for it just came from where we were before. And that was in the new generation, which, as we've said, there were no stars. The storylines were so comical.
They weren't great.
They weren't. They all looked really stupid. Like, the attires they wore, like, the sets.
I feel like most people, like, except for people that would wear, like, somewhat, one of the 3 major ring attires, full fucking spandex or pants or, then there was just a lot of people.
What would you go for?
I'd probably go for the sort of spandex shorts, Shelton Benjamin style.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were cool.
The black man special.
Like, I feel like, to be honest, as much as I'd love to, I actually couldn't get away with the full tard, Like, I'd love to rock the classic, Andre the Giant Big Show style, but, like, it's...
The single strap.
I actually don't have the body, which is weird to say so. I almost feel like people haven't seen me and think, oh, what sort of body type does he have? Like, I'm I like to describe myself as post-athletic. I was once athletic. I'm losing it a bit. I'm 30 now. Most people would mistakenly say I'm skinny. I'm not skinny. I'm much heavier than I look, and I have no tonnage around the stomach area.
You got a sleeper build.
Yeah. Like, I'm still athletic, but I just don't. I don't have. Anyway, point being, I feel like you either need to have a belly of some kind or just be a much meatier, stocky
A
person
meatier
to get.
guy. It's
And I
why
just-
it worked on Andre. It's why it worked on Big Show.
Kane.
It's why it worked on Jerry Lawler.
Hey, if you're taking shots at the king.
I will take as many shots on that nonsense as required.
How dare you? He has one of the best gimmicks going.
Well, he's the king.
Yeah.
Whoop-de-doo.
He's from the same town as Elvis, I think, or something like that.
Somewhere.
And that's pretty much the point of his gimmick. He's just stealing the title that Elvis had.
Oh, sorry. I've just ruined everything.
So that was awesome, you know. The man's a pervert.
Yeah, he's a...
I'm not defending him at all.
And then there was that time where Michael Cole had to announce that he had anal bleeding live on TV. And Booker's just there like,
What?
suddenly I wish we had the camera on.
Why did you do that after I took a sip? Like, I just sipped my beer. I was about to erupt. Oh my God. Because as soon as you said it, it was Booker's face that was in my head. Just like, Booker T's like, why are you saying this? It's like, and the only thing he could muster is, what? Like,
Booker T is never lost for words. The man wouldn't shut up on SmackDown and Raw in those days. He had his Fave 5, which included 27 different superstars. But in that one moment,
he was like, you just told me a nigga's asshole was bleeding on live television? Why?
If I had anal bleeding, I'd be all right with it. We're all human. It's our body. Things don't go well. But I'd be in the back of that ambulance thinking, as long as no one announces that on national TV, I'll be all right.
So, yeah, they're not gonna, like, you know, announce my current condition in full detail, you know, on wrestling. I'm a legend. They wouldn't do that to me. You know, I've wrestled some of the greats. Oh wait, did he really?
Oh, he had a very, very long feud with Bret Hart.
I think I've seen some of it. It was a bit weird because as good as and legendary as he was at the time, like, Bret clearly was just much, much better.
He was too good for that.
And it just didn't make sense for him to ever
Plus,
lose.
Jerry was coming up to his, like, 50s at that point.
That's what
anyway.
I mean, yeah, like, back then as well, they didn't have, like, you know, the physicians that people have now. So, like, you know, wrestling in your 50s back then, like, you know, they had old bones already. Very old bones.
And lots of meat surrounding it. In fairness to the bloke, I do admire that he kind of lived the double life. He embraced kayfabe fully, in the sense that when he went back to the territories, which he ran, like places like Memphis and whatever, he was the guy. He was the face of those companies, and he was a face. But then he goes back to the WWF. He's like, I'm going to be a monster heel. I'm gonna cuss out Bret Hart's family just because I can. And I kind of want to go back to that. I want to go back to where the internet wouldn't ruin everything, and they could play multiple characters.
Yeah, that's sort of interesting. Like, Lawler was fun. Like, you know, it's not. I don't know if we're really talking about his entire career, but, you know, he was. Most of my memories of him, obviously, as a commentator, and he, as annoying and perverted as he was, you know, he was one of the better ones. I prefer listening to him and JR than anyone else most of the time.
Most of the time,
except for Taz. Taz is the goat.
It's Taz.
Taz is the goat.
He is, because he's mental.
Taz is today's goat in terms of my Rushmore of commentators. It goes Taz, and then JR and Lawler.
I mean, I'm going to be controversial. I'm putting Michael Cole on there.
No, I'm joking. It's Taz and Michael Cole. Like, I said this the other day.
2003 SmackDown.
Yeah, those two were great.
It's a tricky one for Michael Cole because for most of his career, he's been terrible because of Vince wants him to be terrible. But in the last year, ever since like SummerSlam last year, he's blossomed into a beautiful butterfly.
He's the GOAT.
He's
one of the best. He's a
amazing.
veteran as well, at the end of the day.
I mean, he said it live on TV before. He gave up a life as a war correspondent to do our redneck fucking really dumb sport. Cut that.
Is that actually what he said? Or did
He-
he just say wrestling?
to do this, he said.
All right. Yeah. To do this.
To do this. Hey, my
Not
man,
bitter at
he's
all.
unbeaten at WrestleMania. You got to respect that.
That's probably a horrible list of people that have that technicality.
Technicality. I mean, who else is unbeaten at WrestleMania?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Not Mark.
Poor Mark.
Can we just promise to never call him the Undertaker again, and we just call him Mark?
No. It's Taker, man.
It's Taker.
I feel like we need to move off this subject quickly
Yeah,
before it descends.
I can feel a shit that I'm gonna take on him stewing in my bowels.
I feel bowel movement. Oh no. Oh, why did he do that thing with his eyes?
My man's about to be buried alive again.
So I'm trying to think, like, if you were gonna call it, like, what years are we specifically gonna be referencing when we say like before the Attitude Era? Because we need a cut-off point. Who do you think was one of the better performers?
So if we labelled the time frame, I'm gonna say
And don't just give me the fucking standard list. Don't give me some fucking what culture bullshit.
top 10 wrestlers from when wrestling was shit.
Don't pander to anyone. Give me your honest opinion.
What do
Make
you
it as controversial as you fucking can.
Just on purpose. That's your job. That's what you do.
Yeah. Well, I'll do my job.
Oh God, you're gonna come up with the most. This is
No,
why
I-
Aldo Montoya was the greatest.
I don't have a long list because, like, I'll be honest, I haven't watched a lot of like the classics, just because I just can't be bothered. I've got my favorite performer from that era. You might be surprised. I think it might be a bit obvious, but I think it's someone who he was one of my old favorites later on in his career for his vulgarity. And what's funny is I look back and I actually think I preferred his OG gimmick, and I'm gonna say it's the 1-2-3 kid,
Fucking hell,
young Mr. What's his name?
Mr. Sean Waltman.
Walkman, yeah. He was actually like, I was surprised because I think when I look back and I saw the fucking hairdo and his outfit, and just the name, the 1-2-3 kid, which is like, yeah, well done. You worked pinning into your gimmick.
Yeah, that one pin he got on Razor Ramon, he worked that in there.
And I really thought people were giving him props just because of that match, but actually they had a couple matches, didn't they?
Yeah,
And
they had a whole feud, and something that I find quite impressive is that within like 6 weeks he was the heel. Because they had a diaper match where he put a fucking nappy on him.
Yeah. I just get a flashback to an image. I'm like, oh yeah. But like, yeah, he genuinely he was fun to watch. I think he was so fucking like baby faced, quite literally. 'Cause he's so young looking that like, having kid in his gimmick sort of worked. I think.
Yeah. Eventually they did just call him the Kid.
Yeah.
So it's a very natural evolution.
And it is funny when you look back and he then becomes X-Pac, who does the fucking, was it Bronco Buster? Like, as his finisher.
Get my nuts in your face.
He's like, he started hanging out with the wrong crowd. Got in the clique.
You get in the clique, you don't go back.
Makes a sex tape with China.
Hey, that was one night. That was just one night.
Motherfucker. I think I was horrified because I think I found out about that sex tape at like 14, on the internet. I didn't see the sex tape at the time.
I've never seen it.
I have.
You have?
Morbid curiosity, man. Come on.
Yeah.
But I think I remember finding out about it and I was like, no, that's got to be a rumor. And I was like, oh, no, it's true. Oh, okay.
I can't believe they called it One Night in China.
Man, they didn't give
They
a
went with a
fuck.
pun. They didn't even call him sex pack in China.
Sex pack in China.
It writes itself. It
Anyway, his younger self. Yeah, I think he was fun to watch because I think it wasn't too much about his high flying ability. Like everyone and their mums was, mood salting back then.
yeah.
But I think he had a good elegance and he had like a good like subtle sort of act where it was like you could tell he was sort of playing it that he's like smaller, always like playing at the underdog, but then surprised people, and it always worked. He always found a way to make it work. His wins were convincing when he seemed like the underdog, and yeah, I just think he was a good performer. I think he blossomed. I feel like if anything, I feel like he lost a lot because I feel like his athleticism always stayed with him. He always had fun like kicks and all sorts of things like that. But then I feel like for whatever reason, deciding to commit to always shoving his dick in people's faces in the corner got old quickly.
There was a transition, I believe, because he went to WCW and he became 6 for a while. And then when he came back, he was X-Pac, which is one of the worst names in wrestling, by the way. What do you want to be called? X-Pac.
His theme song was fun, though.
Win the X Factor.
No, not that X Factor
Rows
one.
of
No,
houses.
not X Factor.
I've never seen you looking so lovely as you look tonight.
For fuck's sake. What is that song? It's so jarring.
Lady in red.
So, that's my favourite. Who's yours? I've shown you mine.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Hey, go on, get it out. I'm going to be really basic. I'm going to say it's Bret Hart.
You fucking boring motherfucker. I actually was really hoping you were going to not say Bret Hart. I was like,
it's
please don't say Bret.
It's Erwin R. Shyster.
Why? Why Bret?
Because he always put on great matches in a time when no one was given great matches.
I understand that, and I will admit it's almost like the obvious choice for obvious reasons.
The obvious choice is Owen, because if I wanted to come across as a hipster,
yeah, well, okay, I was like,
and
yes,
everyone
and
wants
no,
to be a hipster,
but like, I think to be honest, from my understanding, Owen did still take a while to get noticed, and it wasn't even like because Bret was shining so bright. It was just generally, I think he had a few things to work out. He always had the technical ability, but he just, I don't know, there was more things to work. I think
he didn't have the presence.
Yeah, looking at his gimmick wise, looking at how it ended, like I think that was always something for him to overcome, and I think that's why as a performer, yeah. But going back to Bret, I always found Bret was, and I think even now, I really truly believe this more than anything. I think he was always a great wrestler, and I think, we're throwing around the word technical. He's one of the best, but I just never found him entertaining. I think it's one of the things there was always that he's on that list of people to me where I find them jarring. It's like I would never say you're bad, and you're not like I didn't like watching you. But it was just like, oh my god, why people don't understand I'm doing a podcast.
People just need to know what you're doing.
I just I just always struggled when it came to like his character. His character to me was always a bit like, like, give me something to work with. You're not giving me the charisma that I feel like I want to see. Like I think because obviously I saw late Bret, I saw WCW Bret, and post pretty much personally I never really saw post Screwjob Bret. So I only really got an understanding of an angry Bret Hart.
Yeah.
That to me
he's carried throughout his life.
Yeah. So
understandably so, by the way.
Yeah, of course.
I just had to defend him.
But just throwing it out there, you could have just not even contemplated going to WCW. You probably would have got paid massively in the end.
Yeah. I mean, he did it right after a really fucking incredible heel run. 97 Bret is goated. He is such a good bad guy. And that comes on to what I think his gimmick is. I think he just comes across as really real. We know about him that he's a fantastic wrestler, brilliant technical wrestler. Well, he's not technical, but
I feel like back then he was technical, just
yeah,
because like
for the time,
he didn't rely on just like suplexing and
yeah, but he was very precise and he was very meticulous, and that's why he was the excellence of execution. And that's enough character for me, because when you have someone who's that good and they get on the mic and they speak true to you, I can't help but get on board. I just really enjoy that this guy knows he's good, but he's not going to rub it in your face.
yeah, like again, like I haven't gone back and watched much Brett, and I haven't really given him the time of day. To be honest, I just never felt compelled to. There were some people who are like, I felt compelled to go back and watch old Stone Cold because, like I've told you before, I was never the biggest Stone Cold fan when I was younger. I enjoyed Stone Cold, but he wasn't my favorite. So going back and feeling like, okay, let's just give Stone Cold more of a chance to really be like goated, in my opinion, which I've done, and I need to do that with Brett. I think a bit, just because, yeah, I feel like there's just been a little bit of like, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting why everyone loves this guy. Sometimes with him, so
It'll be a little bit of a different way of getting into Brett, because I was exactly the same as you. I always just, the hard thing with Brett is that when you come from our generation, you think of the screw job when you think of Brett.
yeah, exactly. That's
It's
all I know
tainted
of him, and then it's I think I've processed it enough now to like have appreciation for everybody's part. The part everyone had to
That
play.
bastard Earl Hebner.
Like fucking hell. Yeah, the screw job is fun one. Like I can't wait to actually like have a reason to talk about the screw job, because I've got a lot of opinions on it still. I gave away a few of them just now, but like I think it's a interesting scope when you think about it in hindsight. There's a lot of things that could have gone differently, really.
Yeah. From all parties involved.
From all parties, from everyone. Like it's almost like the multiverse of the screw job is quite an interesting world. Like I don't mean the multiverse as in like the multiverse of wrestling. If like the pivotal moment is if this went differently at the screw job, if this went differently, like there's a world of wrestling that like it's just completely different. I think most of them lead to like no Roman Reigns somehow. just because somewhere along that line, The Rock doesn't get over as he does. So like, that lineage doesn't really have as much baggage behind it because it died in the 90s. Who gives a fuck now about the Anoa'is? Like
Farouk actually does maintain his position as leader of the nation. And it's the Farouk family who run wrestling.
Simmons. They become the new Heart Foundation. Like Simmons.
We
school.
are the Simmons. I can't
what the fuck are we on? How did we get here?
Anyway, you'll have a very different journey into accepting Brett, because with Austin, it was kind of just a case of you watch the weekly show. He'll turn up and stun at someone, and you'll get the mania. You'll get why everyone in the crowd was going mental. And in turn, them going mental, that gets you excited. It's like, it's Stone Cold. But with Brett, because, as we've spoken about many times so far tonight, but never really got deep on, mid-90s weekly television was shite. And the actual show was shite. But if you have a look at even some of his most mid-matches, like the In Your House one we watched, that's one of his weaker matches. But
yeah, that's what I mean. Like going on about, I was like, I think I've watched that one. And I was like, I'm still not getting the Bret Hart thing. Like,
that's one of his weaker matches, man.
I'll tell you who was surprisingly entertaining. Not from that show. Was because I watched two In Your Houses actually, so I might be getting them mixed up.
Was the second one the lumberjack one?
Maybe. There was one that had before he was Road Dogg. Like, was it just
oh, the roadie?
The roadie,
Jesse James.
I had a newfound respect for Jesse James. I was like, you know what? He was the one that I liked the least out of everyone. In New Age Outlaws, I didn't like him that much. And then when he was in DX, I was like, he's the weak link. Like, I for some reason loved Billy Gunn. I just had so much time for Billy Gunn. I don't know why. And the ass man gimmick really fucking went over for me. I was just like, and that's not, implying anything about my sexuality or what I'm into.
Arses are great. I don't give a shit. Arses are great.
But something about that gimmick, even when I was a kid, was like, this is hilarious. This is one of those ridiculous gimmicks that works. Obviously, that's not how I thought of it at the time, but I think looking back, I was like, yeah, like, I weirdly accepted the ass man gimmick, like, and I think I might have been a minority, but I just, not being black.
That's true.
I'm in a minority in terms of people. I was like, I thought it was funny as shit, and I even liked that he wasn't like one of those gimmick wrestlers that would like come in, be a gimmick, and lose. Like, he was actually somewhat formidable because he
won King of the Ring.
He was what, as ass man?
As ass man.
He wasn't the one Billy Gunn at that point.
No,
he was the ass man.
1999, Billy Gunn
was the ass.
He was the ass.
The ass won the King of the Ring. An ass won King, and that's what I mean. And it's such a good song. I might even cover it one day.
Oh, please. I mean, everyone still needs to hear your cover of Sexy Boy.
I'll do a proper cover of Sexy Boy. I'll get my partner to do the female vocals, and I'll sing the mains.
You have to rewrite it and tailor it to yourself.
What do you mean? It's pretty much about me already.
Hey.
It just said me ZAK. It's gonna be great.
Run a studio.
Where I podcast for free. Actually, that's the point. I don't actually know when Shawn Michaels debuted. It's one of the weird things. I know he was about in the 90s, but I don't know when he started. Like, I know he wasn't about in the 80s, right?
Yeah, he was late 80s.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, when he was with the Rockers.
I was about to say, he was part of a tag team, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's part of a tag team. Because this is the funny thing about Shawn Michaels that I'm just going to throw it out there. Shawn Michaels only got over because he looked like a member of Motley Crue.
So specific.
Let's be honest. And this whole thing was that he looks like a fucking hair metal rocker. He comes out with the flary outfit. He fucking shakes his ass a little bit. He's like, ah! And at the time, he was good. It's so funny because when I say Shawn Michaels was good looking, and I explained this to my girlfriend at the time, she then Googles Shawn Michaels, sees modern day Shawn Michaels with a dodgy eye, and it's like, this man is the Heartbreak Kid. I'm like, no. You got to understand. When Shawn Michaels had hair and it was long and flowing and thick, and like, he actually had a baby face.
He had that stubble. Oh, he was handsome.
No, even before. I'm talking like before the stubble. Even like, I'm talking when he was like babyface Shawn Michaels, when he like barely looks like the man he is today.
Before the drugs.
Yeah, before the drugs, before everything. He was a good-looking man.
He was a good-looking chap.
And that's why his gimmick and it worked, because his whole thing was like, he came up with the arrogance. It's like, his theme song is telling you, I'm the sexiest man in wrestling, and the women were like, yes!
Yeah. And that's why he becomes a heel, because if he wasn't actually that fucking sexy, it wouldn't work.
Yeah, you'd laugh. It'd just be like the ass man all over again.
It'd be Baron Corbin.
We need to do an episode on him, because
think I'm cute.
I
know I'm Baron.
I need to know what's going on with him. He's another weird one. I'm like, who the fuck is Baron Corbin?
He used to have hair. Weird era.
What's happened to him?
Oh, his hair. Fucking hell. That hairline went further back than British ties to racism.
Yes. I knew you were going to hit me with something good there. But genuinely, question marks.
He's an interesting one, and I will say...
was he ever good? Just give me that. That tells me everything I need to know.
We're going to wait and talk about
that. That tells me everything I need to know, Stephen. So, moving on.
The performer Baron Corbin, we respect you. You are great, Baron Corbin.
What's he doing now? No. We'll get into that.
We're going to get there.
I've got to be honest. I'm a bit annoyed we've done this subject now, because I feel like we should have potentially saved some of this for a bit of Gary, because Gary's got years on us. And I sort of wanted to insultingly ask if he ever remembers seeing any of the 90s wrestling. Because how old is Gary?
He's like 39.
Yeah,
So he 100% would have.
he had a chance, like I was thinking, imagine same way as us, he probably was watching shady VHS recordings from someone,
Yeah.
some shady bloke.
He probably knew Uncle Arthur as well.
You got from the same supplier. Maybe we all did. It's like when you
I've got
realize
Unforgiven 2000 for you.
I'm talking like he had In Your House 5 like
He is actually in your house. He's under the floorboards.
I've got WrestleMania 1 in color. Holy shit.
Oh, shit. Mr. Arthur, what's this white stain on? Don't look at it.
Don't worry about that. It flickers a lot, but it's fine. It's WrestleMania.
WrestleMania. You get to see Mr. T.
But my point being, it would be fun to hear his take also on the old school. We'll get into it with him anyway. Gary Rose, as we mentioned, is he feels the generational gap between us. I actually keep forgetting how old you are. Like I just know you're younger than me.
Just generally younger.
I'm getting terrible with these things. I forget.
How old do you think I am?
I forget how old my girlfriend is a lot. I'm like, she's younger than me.
How old is your girlfriend?
She is 26.
She's younger than me. What the fuck?
She's younger than you?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Wait, how old are you? 27?
Yeah, I'm 27.
I got the feeling I thought you might have been about the same age, but yeah. Yeah, she's 26.
I don't know why that surprises me. Because she has a baby face. But
It's fun using the term baby face when
it
we're
is
talking about
fun.
wrestling.
Yeah, it's so great.
She's a baby face. She is a baby
Yeah,
face.
she's the baby face. You're the heel.
She'd be a terrible heel.
She's too wholesome.
She has to do a liter to become a heel.
Slut era.
She'd have to cheat on me.
I'm loving you as Matt Hardy.
Yes, of course.
You might actually get over.
And I just need a somewhat annoyingly cooler brother who forced to drugs.
Isn't that most people in Bournemouth?
Pretty much. Yes.
Finally.
Shh. That was a good
They
shot.
didn't
Finally.
see it.
Not my third bottle. What are we talking about? Actually, no, I've got a cap here, like, for consistency's sake. Oh, fuck.
Oh, well, you got it in the bag.
Somehow.
I don't know whether that's double points or negative points.
So we've mentioned our potential future guests. I don't know when we're going to get Gary in. We haven't even tried. Does Gary even know we're recording a podcast at the moment? Like, he knows... He was pretty much around when we conceived SmarkZ. Before it was even named SmarkZ, we were like, we need to get this on a podcast. I do recall him being around being like, get me in as a guest.
I'll get you cancelled.
People will realise one day how accurate my impression of Gary really is. Especially when he's had some beers in him. It's going to be great.
Can you say hello, doggy, for me?
Hello, doggy.
Yeah, that's him. It's like he's in the room. If we can't get him on, no one will ever know because it's such a lifelike impression.
No, Gary's great. I've got so much time for Gary, and I can't wait to hear his take. Because honestly, I think it might end up being a super long one. Because I want to hear Gary's take on so many eras of wrestling. I want to hear like what we're talking about now, like the 90s. I want to hear his take on the 2000s. I want to hear his take on the invasion. I want to hear his take on. I want to hear him fill me in on some stuff I've not seen as well. Like I want to maybe like tell him about my gap and be like, tell me something significant that you think I should know about that I probably don't know about. Like just one story or one feud that I don't know about, and hear what he decides to regale me with.
And we'll both learn something.
It'll be fun.
He's if I'm the Smark and you're the Mark, he is the ultra Smark.
He's an ultra.
He
smart.
knows.
He should be by this point because he's 39. if the man was still a Mark at 39, I'd be like, maybe we shouldn't get him on
He's very grey.
because he's gonna come in and berate us for laughing at the Undertaker.
He will start swinging.
He'll fucking batter us. That is one of the greatest of all times. You don't laugh at him.
And then immediately we start lampooning on him. And he joins in. Because he can't help it.
But nah, It'll be fun. I actually, privately, because I don't want to ruin it, but I do need to get a bit of a watch list hint from you, because when we get Olivia on, we're going to talk about women's wrestling. And I've mentioned this now only because I want to segue into the sexist side of me once again. I can't recall any. Sorry, burping.
Is that the left or the right one?
That will work. Any women's wrestling in like the early days. Like, I don't even know how many women were on the roster in the 90s. Like, what's bad is I know there was women on the roster. And I don't just mean managers and special guests and girlfriends. I mean, like, there were female performers, but I feel like I've watched 2 events and there were no female matches.
Not in both of those In Your Houses, there were no...
Yeah, I mean...
The only woman
there was 2 In Your Houses and there was no women's matches, which is not a good look. But, what can we say? It was the olden days.
Back in my day, they would have just got on with it.
You had a woman come out, she'd look really hot next to the big muscly semi-naked man, and then she'd go and, out of the way. She'd know her place.
She's got the oven on. She's doing her job.
She might interrupt if he's losing. She might distract the referee.
She'll distract referee with her bum. The crowd goes wild.
It's such good shit.
It's such good shit.
But
we will have an episode of It's Such Good Shit tonight. Don't you worry.
So yeah, can you inform me on anyone you recall, like from the female roster?
What, like 95 or so?
Yeah.
No.
Was there literally no one? Or can you just not name them? They were as bad as me.
Everything I've seen from that era, there were no women wrestlers.
Fucking hell, come on, we might have to. It might be a Google moment.
I mean, you go into like 96 and 97. I mean, Moolah was probably fucking being weird still.
Moolah was still fucking women over for absolutely no reason other than she was an absolute gangster. I don't mean like gangster, 50 Cent gangster. I mean like mobster gangster.
Yeah.
Like she was an absolute gangster, like wholeheartedly.
She's just Fat Tony from The Simpsons.
She was awful.
I say, just don't let them on the show.
Oh shit! There's literally, I just found a website called the SmackDown Hotel which will give you the roster based on a year from WWF.
Put 95 in.
I've got it.
Because I just imagine out of nowhere, Sonny and Sable appeared.
Okay, we're gonna play a little game actually. I just immediately thought of a game. Name me 5 people on this roster right now. From
Bret
1995. Hart, okay, easy win.
Jerry Lawler. Shawn Michaels.
Ah, fuck you. I might make a 10.
Undertaker.
Yeah.
Diesel.
I'm scrolling up and down. Sorry, I'm moving a bit slow. Yep.
The Kid.
It's gonna be 5 more. Okay, so the Kid. I like to see how far you can go. I want to see how far do you get something wrong. Can you describe what something would look like? Okay, so for example, describe the Undertaker in 1995.
I think that would have been purple gloves Undertaker. I think he'd already gone past the mask.
No, he's wearing the mask.
He's wearing the mask.
He's wearing the fucking mask.
I'm a dead man, but I've got broken nose.
Who's better looking, Diesel or Bret Hart?
It's Diesel.
He was a sexy man in
He
95.
was a sexy beast.
He was fucking like 6'10", long black hair with the black goatee. He looked good.
He's what Bret Hart thinks he looks like on a good day.
Yeah, Bret Hart looked like a guy who was maybe older than he was letting on, wearing some weird glasses.
I'm going to take you home to my hotel tonight. I'm going to lay you on the bed.
Come on, give me 5 people. I found a woman, by the way. I have found a woman.
Found a woman. Is it not just the announcer who tried to announce who won the house in your house?
No, I found 2, and you're going to laugh because you should be able to... I found 3. I think 4.
It's just a guy with a really cute name.
Yes, no, it is 4. That's 4. No, come on, name me 5 wrestlers. Try not to go for the obvious, or at least give me someone a variant of someone that you know exists.
All right. Hakushi,
Yes.
Aldo Montoya.
Correct.
Because I know that just because it blows my mind that used to be Justin Incredible.
Yeah. So there's another two. Come on, give me three more. There's people, even I'm surprised. I would have been able to name like 10 people just without
Big Boss
realizing.
Man. He would have been wearing his blue shirt at the time, I think.
That is your first mistake.
He wasn't there.
Big Boss Man is not. Wait, maybe is it the Big Boss Man?
Oh, pressure.
No, 'cause there is theirs on there. It was 1 2 3 UK, by the way. He was on there. You did get him right. No, the Big Boss Man was not on the roster in 1995.
Bollocks.
Your first strike. You've got 3 strikes, by the way. I've
3
just
strikes
decided.
and I'm out.
Come on, give me 3 more.
Did I say Owen Hart?
Don't know. I feel like that's cheating. But yeah,
It's not.
He's on this. That's obvious. I said don't go for the obvious ones. Give me someone obscure. Come on, flex your fucking smarkiness.
Who was in it? Honky Tonk Man?
The Honky Tonk Man.
I got long sideburns and my hair slicks back.
I know who the Honky Tonk Man is, by the way, but I'm just seeing if
Yeah.
he's on the list. He is not on the list. That's
He's
2
not
strikes.
on the list.
There's 2 people on this list that I am surprised. I didn't even realize they were on the roster in 1995.
Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Yes, he is on this, but that's not who I was thinking of. Again, that's cheating. Come on.
It's
Triple H.
not.
That's Triple H, bro.
No, it's Hunter Hearst Helmsley. It's the Blue Blood.
He looks like a right twat in the picture as well. It's like,
He
he's
does.
doing his face.
Hello.
Okay, I'll give you 2 more, but I'd like 3 more, really.
Stephen Regal there.
Oh, no, he's not.
Oh,
That'd be 3 strikes.
motherfucker.
So the 2 that I'm surprised that they're on this is the fucking Hardy Boys. Matt and Jeff Hardy, a young and Matt and Jeff Hardy, and I want you to see
Nah.
this. They look like fucking
Is it them with the doors?
babies. No, it's just Jeff Hardy.
Sweet little man.
And
Look at Matt with his
Look at
short
Matt.
back and sides.
Look at Matt without long hair. But I was like, holy shit, the Hardy Boys were on the roster in 95. I was 3 years old. So you've seen
they
a
got
few,
their
but
start by like just opening the doors at King of the Ring or the Royal Rumble, whatever it was.
some of the obvious I was hoping that would be a bit more obscure, but like easy ones have been like Roddy Piper.
Why was he there in '95?
In
I'm assuming Goldust
95,
was there.
Gold Dust. I was hoping you'd give me Fatu.
Fatu.
Yeah, man. Look at young Rikishi. Look at the Usos daddy-o.
Eddie Fatu. Dwayne Gill.
There's Sexy Diesel. The 2 Doinks.
The 2 Doinks.
And I really
It's
want
like
to...
Sin Cara and Sin Cara
we will get
Negro.
into Doink the fucking clown, which I literally what I wrote on the document. We didn't write a lot of things for this episode in terms of notes, but I wrote Doink the fucking clown.
But why?
Oh, because it's such a story. Do you know the story of Doink the
No,
clown?
you can tell me this one.
Man, this is the dark side of the ring shit. This is some
Oh.
dark side of the ring shit. Unfortunately, sadly. So let's get into women because that was the point we're on this. So can you try and guess at least one woman on this list,
I
please?
saw Sonny. I'm gonna be honest. I saw Sonny.
There's one that's really obvious.
Is it Moolah?
No. not obvious, but like she's sort of always on the roster because she's sort of part of the brand, really.
Linda?
Linda McMahon. Which I'm surprised. I didn't realize she was making appearances in 95.
Well, in fairness, Stephanie was still getting fucked by the Macho Man at that time to celebrate her 12th birthday.
Christ. Alundra Blaze.
Alundra Blaze was still... Ah, yeah.
95.
Yeah. It was before she...
This was
the
just
bin.
before the bin.
Medusa.
Also, we have...
How can you have 4 women on a roster?
Yeah, it's fucking bad. It's only 4 women on the roster. That is the point. I was trying to like sort of lightly just go over there. Like, yeah, there's 4 women on the roster, man. I was trying to big it up. Yeah, there's only 4 women on the roster.
Nah, she did the right thing by putting that belt in the bin.
But to be fair, of a roster of 74 people. Let's be honest, not all of these people are wrestlers. Not all of them. There's 2 Doink the Clowns on this fucking list. So
With stat padding now.
That tells you everything you need to know.
We're already doing the fucking the model swaps, whatever it's called.
Who the fuck was Avatar?
I don't know. Is he blue?
I might out myself here. Maybe I'm reduced myself. Saying this might push me out of mark them altogether. Who is Bull Nakano?
Bull Nakano. I know the name.
I also feel like I've seen the name. Real name Keiko Aoki.
Show me him.
Japanese. The reason I wasn't sure is because with this attire, I wasn't even sure if it was a male or a female. I'm really sorry.
I was about to say that. So fucking hell, that's just like a Japanese David Bowie cosplay.
I'll say that somewhere between David Bowie and Paul from Tekken.
That's a woman.
But
on this page, you will find the full wrestling profile of Bull Nakano. Her something.
Yeah, she's from Japan. She's currently 55, so she's still alive. I don't know. I say that so horribly. Like a shocking amount of wrestlers have died. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I can't wait until we play.
Wow, this website is in so much detail that it details heel and face runs. Years.
Oh, what, like the duration of them?
Heel. She was a heel in December 2017. So she was still wrestling in 2017. Fair play.
Queen shit.
She was a heel. So she was mainly been a heel. She was a heel from 1983 to 1997.
That's badass, man. She was a bad bitch for 14 years.
So she looks like she came from I feel like we've gone off, but this is an interesting tangent because there's someone from that era. Let's do some research on someone we both don't know about. Bull Nakano. Japanese female wrestler. Still alive to this day. Seems like somewhat of a legend. She was WWF Women's Champion at one point. What? Yeah. Obviously, All Japan's wrestling. She's won plenty of championships.
Why do we not know about her?
She's performed in Lucha. She's in the AJW Hall of Fame. And inducted in 1998 as well.
And at one point in time, she made up 25% of the women's roster.
Maybe we need to go back and watch some Bull Nakano. So next episode, both of us need to have watched a Bull Nakano match. I'm going to watch her championship match because
that's going to pull in the views.
Come on, man.
I'm not over that. How about something we can both agree on? It's such good shit.
It's always such good shit.
Which I don't have one this week.
You don't have one?
No, I'm kidding. I just wanted to get under your skin.
Motherfucker. I was like, you've had so much time. I was hoping, I gave you time. I over-talked. I was like, he must be fucking formulating something.
I mean, you carried us this time, but it'll be worth it. Because we're going to pit 2 giants against each other. But only one of them's real.
Only one giant exists. Find the real giant.
So, number 1. Tony Stark, Cody Rhodes. So they were going to originally take Cody Rhodes. This is probably like mid 2010s, kind of. I don't know if it was before Stardust, but they were going to turn him into Cody Rhodes Enterprises,
like full Iron Man.
Yeah, and he was going to come out and he was going to do the whole Robert Downey Jr. really nerdy ass shit. I don't like Marvel.
I'm surprised by that. For a wrestling fan.
I love superheroes, but
like,
Marvel's dead.
I feel like they go hand in hand. That's why I like wrestling and comic books.
They're both fake as fuck. So, but
was he gonna have a suit, or was it gonna like progress to a suit?
Well, it didn't happen.
Well,
so
yeah, fair enough. Like, I'm sure it was like, yeah, fair enough.
No, they were going to include Brandy in this.
Fuck's sake. I can
something, Brandy Rhodes.
I can fully see also, the way I look at all of these, I'm like, this is Vince we're talking about. If this is Vince we're talking about, he's like, Marvel's really popping. It's making millions, billions even.
Did you see Iron Man 3?
The worst one.
They love Guy Pearce. They love him.
So we've got Iron Rhodes.
Iron Rhodes, I love that. And your opposite is Elliott Smith, Chris Jericho. So he was gonna He was gonna be on a really, really rough streak. He was gonna have a really bad time with it. So they were gonna kind of capitalize on the whole Fozzy thing. They were gonna do sad boy Chris Jericho. So he'd come out and he'd sing really miserable music.
Oh, I'm already like I'm trying to think of like the reality of this. I'm like, which one's more feasible? I'm like, oh, that's a good one.
Well, because he could pull it off.
He
Absolutely, he could.
Doesn't he finally come out to Fozzy now?
Yeah, he plays Judas.
It's like only been wrestling for 20 years, only been a musician for 20 years, and you've never come out to your own music. Like, what the fuck?
I mean,
I was so surprised. I always believed that he performed his own music. I actually used to believe every wrestler performed their own music, bar a few. Like, I didn't think that Kane got an orchestra together. But
he's there on the organ.
No, I didn't think that. But like, I believed that was Undertaker going, dead man walking. I believed no, it was The Rock going. If you smell what The Rock is cooking. And Shawn Michaels actually sung his theme.
Yeah, he did.
They made him.
It was Sherry who did the original, and then he did it. I can fully imagine China saying, "Don't treat me like a woman. Don't treat me like a man.
Don't treat me like a man. Don't treat me like I remember that thing. Yeah,
Take me overseas and fuck
when
me.
I realized, like, but feeding back into that, like the idea being like, I used to believe a lot about wrestlers and their gimmicks. So yeah, everything's so believable. So which one do I think is not real, or do I think is the real gimmick? Oh, that's so tough. That's so tough.
Current reminder: the scoreline is 2-1. I am winning 2-1.
Yeah, I need to get this right. I need to fucking catch up. I can't be in the deficit. Okay. So. Shit.
Adrenaline in my soul.
Now you're trying to throw me off. You're trying to fuck with me and throw me off.
Something, Iron Man.
I think the real one is that one. I do think it's the Iron Man. Only because I feel like, if anything, using Jericho's musical gimmick should have been an option ages ago, and I feel like Vince just always shut it down. I feel like, if anything, Jericho was like, yeah, we use our music thing, man. He's like, no, we wrestle here. We don't do fucking rock and roll. We're not musicals.
It's the devil's music.
And just to fuck with him, he's like, no, you can be undisputed champion, but you can't have your own music. Fuck that. It's about to promote me. It's about promoting me and my company. I beat WCW. Whereas seeing him trying to cash in on Marvel in some way, and like the Marvel fandom, seems believable. Like, I've already seen it in subtle ways, weirdly in the women's division more than anything, Super Nikki or whatever the fuck that was.
Oh yeah,
we need to talk about Nikki Cross, because I feel like
poor girl.
she's like some borderline Eugene character, and I'm very, very concerned at the point in her angles.
I hate that you're right. I hate that.
You've never realized it till now. It's because I'm jumping back and forth, so I see it. I'm like, I jump from like, oh, Eugene, to seeing like current, like, well, Nikki Cross 3 years ago. I'm like, oh, Eugene. It's fucking horrible. I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? Why do we keep doing this? But yeah, so I believe that would be more the character, because yeah, you had her, you had the fucking Alexa doing the Harley Quinn thing. I can imagine he considered, he's like, who would be the $1 billion? Like, well, his dad was Dusty Rhodes and he was the American dream, so he could be a billionaire, philanthropist, whatever sort of guy. Yeah, I'm banking. I have selected Cody. Billionaire Cody. Cody Starks.
If you fully believe it, you have to give me a whoa.
I'm not doing that.
Well, I can't lock your answer in.
Fuck you, Stephen. I hate it. Can I do it, but do his original? Whoa! The one that used to haunt me on the SmackDown games before I even realized that was his theme. I was like, what's this awful song I keep hearing?
It's such a banger.
I hated it.
So, the real answer. Bear in mind it's 2-1 right now. It could get sloppy. They wanted to have Cody Rhodes as their own Tony Stark.
I'm getting there. I'm getting good at this.
You're learning.
I'm getting into the mind of Vince. This is why I'm saying hire me, WWE, because I get it. I think Vince. I speak Vince, man.
You know what good shit is.
I know.
You know.
If anything, so do you, because your pitches are very solid. Hire the both of us. That's the whole point of the SmarkZ podcast, is to get inside. Like, fuck trying to be good retrospectives like everyone else on YouTube. No. We're just trying to get jobs. We're trying to get paid. Hire us.
We're both suffering right now.
We'll keep Paul in line so he doesn't just keep pushing the same 4 people.
Becky Lynch has done enough.
She's really done enough. I'm sick of Becky and Charlotte. I've been watching for 7 months.
Everyone's sick of Charlotte. Fucking hell. I love you, Charlotte. You're a great wrestler.
But she's got to be like her dad. She's got to be the Lady Flair.
She's been there for 7 years and she's won 15 world titles.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's stupid. That's what that is.
That's the thing. And the worst thing is, I've been watching a lot of catch up and I've not seen her win a match.
Because they know. They know
As
it's
in, like, I've
stupid.
also watched old things and like I've not seen her title runs or anything else. So like, not intentionally. I just somehow have been avoiding seeing Charlotte Flair as women's champion. So I'm like, how is this bitch been the most accomplished women's champion when every time I jump into a random year, she's never the champ? So I'm like, how long were her runs? Were they just like, okay, let's just give her a 1 month run and keep doing this repeatedly until she has 17 runs and has a fucking record that no one can beat, like her dad? Because I feel like that's literally all they're going for with her.
Who's in second place?
I don't know.
It's like Trish with like
you
5.
should know this. Yeah, that's your job, Stephen.
She's got 10 more.
Literally, yeah, it must be. Because, like, to be honest, even Becky's had a fuckload of runs already.
It's not been that bad. She had some decent runs.
But, like, the fact that
love to
Trish's...
sniff them.
Because, let's be honest, even Trish's runs, because bear in mind, they didn't have a title. I didn't realize until rewatching. There were just divas and no title for a little bit, and I was like, "What?"
When are you thinking?
I believe there was a brief period where there was no women's title and no divas championship. There was just women around, and then they had a big thing where they introduced the divas championship, and it was like, "Oh, that's the whole thing. They got something to compete for."
No, they had the women's championship then. It would have been during the brand split.
It was the weird fucking circle one, right? But I think there was, I don't know if it was like for a couple months, but I feel like there was just like a period where they just didn't, mainly because there probably wasn't anyone to fucking wrestle for it. They're like, we can't even have a decent women's event. So let's just
fuck it, Christy Hemme.
Let's
Get her
just
out
fucking let's just not even talk about a women's or a female title. And then we'll just introduce the Divas one. And then we'll just have models fight over it for a bit.
And that happened for about 10 years. That was nice, wasn't it?
That was poor Trish before the plastic surgery.
Oi, we don't talk shit about Trish Stratus on this podcast. She's perfect in every way.
She was definitely my favorite anyway. I was always a Stacey Keebler fan. Even
she did less.
I realize that now, Stephen. I do genuinely thank Trish. I'm not rude.
Thank you, Trish.
Thank you, Trish, for being a woman with big boobs that was actually talented. Thank you. And that's not even supposed to be backhanded. I feel so bad because that's as a fan watching as a kid, I couldn't help but not listen to the commentary. So when Jerry Lawler was like, well, look at the things at the front of her body
Puppies!
all the time, and JR, pretended to deflect, but he was definitely condoning.
He was wanking straight away.
It was hard, and the way that Stacey Keebler used to walk through those ropes or step through those ropes, it was a moment.
Jerry, I think you're disgusting. What are you talking about? You're talking about them women.
But yeah, we're at a point now where I'm 4 beers deep, and I'm like, I need to pee. I'm pretty much done burying myself. I think we can call it at that.
Yeah, we're gonna point and we're gonna wave at the non-existent camera. Like, goodbye, everybody.
Let's wait to CCTV. Bye.
Goodbye, CCTV.
Good night, everyone. We might have a guest next time. We might not. It might just be us chatting.
I think it's gonna be out
about
3
the
months.
Undertaker for again.
3 months till we get the boy on.
We might. We'll sort something out. But until next time. Good night.
Love you.